My name is Rowan Ellery, and I'm 30. I build steadiness for a living, spreadsheets that behave, portfolios that make sense, plans that don't brag because they don't have to. My salary covers my one bedroom in Lincoln Park and my paid off 2015 Accord. My savings glow quietly in a 401k and an emergency fund that sleeps like a well-fed cat. I tell you this because money wasn't supposed to be the point, until it became the whole argument dressed in designer lighting. I'd been with Seth for 3 years. He worked marketing at a beauty brand. Camera-ready smile, brainstorm energy, ideas that sounded like confetti when he said them. Early on, we split costs almost evenly. I picked up a touch more and called it love's arithmetic. He loved new restaurants. I loved when the numbers still worked after dessert. We planned a dog. Europe when we'd saved enough. It felt simple and true. Then the comparisons started showing up like ads I never clicked. His circle, Nicole, Jess, Amanda, plus their boyfriends, loved to rank life by the sticker. Teslas, River North condos, Tiffany, IPO dreams. Nobody was cruel about it. They just narrated value out loud, as if silence might make success evaporate. Saturday night, August air pressed warm fingers against the windows at Girasole, the kind of Italian place where napkins feel like heirlooms, and the wine list could double as a novella. Our table faced the river. Candles made everyone's cheekbones cinematic. I wore navy and a calm expression, the armor of women who refused to apologize for being practical. It started tiny. Brad described his new Model S like a baptized child. Jason flirted with a Model X. Derek rhapsodized about his condo and the appraised value that validated him like applause. I cut into a ridiculous chicken parm, thought about autopay, and let the talk pass over me like a radio station I didn't need. Seth leaned back, voice just loud enough. Well, Rowan's still rolling around in her college car. The table hiccuped, half laughs, glances down at plates. I set my fork down carefully. It's paid off, I said, even. No debt is the flex. He smirked into his wine. That's not the flex you think it is, babe. Heat crept up my neck. I excused myself, walked to the bathroom, and stared at fluorescent honesty. My reflection didn't look angry. She looked tired of translating thrift into shame. I splashed cool water, returned, and slid back into my chair like nothing hurt. But on my way past, I heard it. The kind of sentence that decorates itself as a whisper but wants an audience. Seth, leaning toward Amanda, voice pitched low. She's comfortable being mediocre, no ambition to level up. 3 feet. That's how close I was when the words found me. 3 feet between belief and proof. I sat, finished dinner with polite nods, and counted breaths until the check. Outside, the river breeze felt like an apology the city didn't owe me. Seth swayed on tipsy confidence, laughing with Jess about some influencer drama. I told him I'd drive him home. He waved me off. I'm crashing with the group. Movie night, he said, already texting. I turned toward the garage. I'd made it 20 feet when his voice sliced through the Saturday noise. Sirens somewhere distant. A dog's nails on concrete. A couple's laughter. You know what, Rowan? He called, arms crossed, like a dare. You'll never be good enough for me. The street paused to watch us. I turned slowly, let the river light catch my face the way a camera would. I smiled, the kind that never reaches your eyes. You're probably right, I said, clear as glass. I walked away. No slamming. No scene. Just the sound of heels on pavement and the small satisfaction of a door unlocking right where I'd left it, on my own car. I drove through Chicago's neon arteries without the radio. Silence was honest. It let the sentences settle. Good enough, mediocre, level up. He'd said them like they were facts, not a wound policy he'd been writing for months. At home, I poured bourbon to the third ring on the glass, sat on my couch in the dark, and let the TV reflect my face without turning it on. My phone vibrated against the table, once, twice. I stared until the screen slept again. After midnight, I looked. 3 messages waited like witnesses. Nicole, hey, I'm so sorry about tonight. That was completely out of line. You did not deserve that. Jess, we told him off after you left, like for real. He was way out of pocket. I'm sorry. Amanda. Rowan, we lit into him. I told him he humiliated the best person he's ever dated. We called him shallow, materialistic. He cried, said he didn't mean it. I think he's been poisoned by people who treat a bank account like a personality. You deserve better. I'm sorry my birthday turned into that. I read them twice. I didn't reply. I turned the phone face down and listened to the apartment breathe. Morning arrived with coffee and the temptation to soften what happened into a misunderstanding. I didn't. I let it be the thing it was, a thesis said aloud. The day moved in spreadsheets and quiet lunch, the kind of normal you cling to when your personal life tries to audition for reality TV. By evening, the texts stacked. Seth, then Seth again. I was drunk. Stress at work. I didn't mean it. Please talk to me. I love you. I didn't answer. I called my best friend Kevin instead. He listened. You dodged a missile, he said finally. Let the silence do its job. So I did. For 2 days, I wore routine like a talisman. Work, gym, early nights. My mother's voicemail about Basil thriving on her windowsill. The city kept being the city. Life didn't ask me to perform it. On Wednesday at 6:30 p.m., the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, Seth. Puffy eyes, no swagger, hoodie I'd never seen. I opened the door because I'm built for closure. Can I come in? He asked. I stepped aside, watched him sit in the exact spot I'd sat Saturday, where you go to measure the shape of your pain. I was drunk and stupid, he began, voice thin. Work is a lot. My friends. Don't hold the knife, I said gently. You do. He flinched. We walked the conversation circle. Progression, leveling up, the future. I told him I'd been planning one. He said he wanted more, the word heavy with price tags. What more did you need? I asked, that required humiliating me. Tears gathered. I don't know, he said. I just wanted more. I nodded. Then go get it, I said softly, but not with me. He begged. He promised therapy, changed habits, grand gestures. I asked for space. He left, crying into his hands in a hallway that didn't echo. Alone again, I stood by the window and watched the river of headlights pretend to be constellations. Somewhere in that flow, the next turn already waited. I didn't know its name yet, but I knew this. Whatever came would not require me to be smaller to fit inside it. Thursday slid in with that gray Chicago light that makes everything look honest. I took the long way to work, past the river where runners pretended the wind didn't bite, and told myself to keep moving forward in straight lines. Log in, clear tickets, nail the forecast deck, answer no texts that begin with please. Seth's name still bloomed on my phone all morning, petals of apology opening every hour. I let them wither unread. By evening, my apartment carried the warm, ordinary smells of garlic and laundry. I was twisting linguine into a nest when the door buzzed again. This time he'd brought takeout from the Thai place I loved, and the exact flowers he'd noticed once make me smile, tulips the color of sunrise. He stood in the hallway like a schoolboy outside a principal's office. 5 minutes, I said through the intercom, then hit the unlock. When I opened the door, he didn't step in immediately. He hovered, scanning the room like it could give him directions. Books stacked by the window, the basil on the sill my mother had championed, my accord keys in their dish. He set the food down carefully and stayed standing, hands in his hoodie pockets, as if he were afraid they'd do damage on their own. I've replayed it 100 times, he started, voice low. What I said. I hate myself for it, Ro. I said nothing. The neighbor's TV bled faint play-by-play through the wall. Basketball, the announcer's voice seesawing between hope and disappointment. I've been under so much pressure with the product launch, he rushed on. Nicole's always comparing. Jess's boyfriend talks down to me. Amanda's crowd. It gets in my head. And I drink more than I should when I feel behind. It makes me mean. That's not an excuse. I'm just... He swallowed. I'm sorry. Why did you say I'd never be good enough? I asked. Not, we need to talk about money, or I'm scared of stagnation, or I want different things. Why that sentence? He looked at the floor. Because I was scared I'm not good enough for you, he whispered. So I made you smaller. If you're small, I can fit. The honesty landed like a stone dropped in a lake. I could hear its descent past the surface calm, the deeper quiet where truth lives. We can't do that, I said. You can't do that to me or yourself. Love is not a funhouse mirror. He nodded, eyes shining. I know. I'll fix it. Therapy. Meetings. I'll post about accountability. You don't owe the internet your penance, I said, sharper than I meant to. You owe yourself better habits and me basic respect. He deflated. The neighbor's TV lifted, and he sinks it from downtown, then fell back to a commercial for mattresses that promise to hold you like you deserve. Seth took out silverware and opened containers like ritual might save him. Eat? He asked, soft. At least let me feed you. I'm not hungry. We stood in that delicate, dangerous quiet people use to renegotiate the past. He paced to the window, stared at the city like it might suggest lines. I meant it when I said I want us to progress, he said finally. Everyone is leveling up. New cars, condos, brand trips. I want that for us. I want to look like we belong. I want to belong before we look like we belong, I said. I want to earn things without turning them into proof. I was planning for a future, Seth. There's a spreadsheet named for you. It has a ring line item. He turned so fast the tulips rustled. You were? I nodded. But you don't get to know a timeline you laughed at. You pulled the curtain back and sneered at the stage. He scrubbed a hand over his face. I'm broken, he said. But I can be better. You're not broken, I said, surprising myself with gentleness. You're just addicted to a scoreboard that only shows other people's points. He laughed once, bitter, self-aware. That's good. Put that in your notes app. I don't write these down, I said. I live them until I learn. He lifted his phone, hesitated. I've been talking to people, he said carefully, asking how to make it right. Chloe thinks a name I knew by rumor slipped into the room like a draft. Chloe, the ex with the persistent presence in friends' stories, the one who'd pick a public table for a private scene, the expert in dramatic exits. I tucked the name away without blinking. Chloe thinks what? I asked, neutral. That I weaponize insecurity, he said quickly, not quite meeting my eyes. That I push partners toward the version that makes me look successful. She said I did it to her too, that I made her feel like an accessory. It was the first time I'd heard him say her without contempt. It sounded less like a confession and more like a rehearsal. I don't want to be your accessory, I said. I want to be your ally. There's a difference. He nodded, chest rising with a careful, guilty breath. I know. I want that too. I leaned against the counter, the cool stone anchoring me. Here's where we are, I said. You humiliated me in public because you felt small in private. You dressed your fear in luxury and made me the mannequin. I need space. I need time. You need help that doesn't come packaged as a grand gesture. If we ever try again, it won't be because you said the right line with flowers in your hands. It will be because you learned to stand without needing me to shrink. He wiped at his face, nodding. I'll give you space, he whispered. I'll do the work. He stopped, like maybe promises had finally started tasting like sugar he couldn't afford. He gathered the tulips, then paused. Can I at least leave these? He asked. They look like hope. Hope doesn't need props, I said. But they're pretty. Leave them. He set them gently on the table, next to the untouched pad tie. At the door, he turned back. The hallway light made a halo out of lint on his hoodie. If I text, he asked, will you read it? I don't know, I said honestly. When he left, the apartment exhaled. The basil plant leaned toward the night. The neighbor's game ended with an interview about trusting the process. I laughed. One sharp breath at the cliché and the way some phrases refuse to die because sometimes they're true. On my counter, the tulips watched me wash the pot I never used. My phone buzzed once. Unknown number, then nothing. I thought of the ex's name tucked inside a sentence, the way history likes to test new lovers with old scripts. I thought of how easily advice can be a door propped open. I put my phone in a drawer and closed it. Not everything that knocks deserves a welcome. A week passed. The city cooled into late September, the season when light sharpens and truth follows suit. I buried myself in reports, pivot tables, the clean logic of percentages that never gaslight you. Seth stayed quiet for 6 days, long enough for my guard to lower just an inch. On the 7th, his name appeared again, attached to a string of emojis and a photo of the Riverwalk at sunset. Caption, New Beginnings. No tag, but I recognized the profile in the corner of the frame. Chloe. Same hair, same smile that knew the camera too well. I scrolled past without reacting, but my stomach drew its own conclusions. At lunch, Jess called. She doesn't do small talk when she's nervous. Rowan, I need to tell you something, and you're not going to like it. Go ahead. Seth's been seen with Chloe a couple of times. Coffee shop on Michigan Avenue, maybe lunch last week. I didn't want to believe it, but Amanda's boyfriend took a photo. Sending now. I opened the image. There they were, laughing at an outdoor table, heads tilted close, the easy intimacy of people who never had to earn it. She wore the same cream sweater she'd worn in a tagged memory Seth never deleted. He looked comfortable in a way he hadn't around me for months. For a long minute, I didn't feel anger, just clarity, the kind that doesn't burn, just cools everything to precision. Thanks, Jess, I said. You didn't have to tell me. Of course I did. You didn't deserve this. Are you okay? I will be. When we hung up, I stared at my reflection in the office window. The skyline made me look like a ghost layered over glass. I texted Seth one sentence. We're done. Don't contact me again. 30 seconds later, he called. I let it ring. Then another call. Then a voicemail that started with my name and ended with the word, please. Another text arrived. She reached out to apologize for everything. It's not what it looks like. We just talked. I swear. I still love you. Please don't do this. I blocked his number, then his Instagram, then Facebook, then Venmo, because boundaries deserve efficiency. That night, I poured wine into a chipped mug and sat by the window. Across the street, a couple argued under a streetlight, their words lost in the wind. I didn't want to be them, two people trying to fix what one had already broken. The next morning, my feed confirmed what I'd already known. Seth had soft-launched Chloe with a photo of her hand on a coffee cup, no tag, but her manicured nails were their own watermark. Caption, some stories get second drafts. I almost laughed. A week later, Nicole called while I was meal prepping quinoa like a person with boundaries. He's back with her, she said without preamble. Officially. Amanda saw it on his story. Full photo this time. But Ro, he doesn't look happy. Like, at all. She's posting quotes about reclaiming what's hers. It's a whole performance. Let them perform, I said, stirring my pan. Just don't buy tickets. Nicole hesitated. You're really okay, aren't you? Yeah, because now the math balances. I thought I'd lost someone. Turns out I just closed a tab. She laughed through a sigh. You're stronger than you think. Maybe. Or maybe I just learned the simplest survival formula. Detachment equals dignity. By October, the noise faded. My phone stopped buzzing with pity updates. I started sleeping through the night again. The air smelled like rain and cinnamon, things that didn't belong to anyone. Sometimes, when I passed the cafe where they'd been photographed, I'd glance through the window out of reflex. Once, I saw them. She was talking animatedly. He was scrolling his phone. Her hand reached for his. His stayed on the table, inches away. I walked on, steady, anonymous in my own city. That evening, I wrote something in my notes app. Not a post, not a message, just a thought I wanted to keep. Closure doesn't need witnesses. It just needs finality. Then I archived the note, shut my phone off, and let quiet fill the apartment until it started sounding like peace. By November, the air had that clean, metallic chill that makes you want to start over. The city's rhythm felt sharper, neater, like even the crosswalk lights had better boundaries than some relationships I'd known. At work, I'd been pulling double shifts on a portfolio overhaul project. Numbers never lie. They reward consistency, not charm. One Friday morning, my boss called me into her office. Rowan, she said, smiling, you've been operating like a VP for months. It's time your title caught up. I blinked. You're serious? She nodded. Effective immediately. Base bump to 175, plus performance bonus. You've earned this. That night, I ordered takeout and toasted myself with champagne in a mismatched glass. No social media post, no hashtag. Just one quiet victory in a kitchen that finally felt like mine. I started sleeping better, running before work, buying groceries without thinking in twos. Freedom has a strange sound. It's lighter than laughter, but steadier than silence. 2 weeks later, Amanda texted. Small gathering this weekend. Close friends only. No drama. Promise. I went. The apartment glowed with candlelight and the comfort of people who'd seen me cracked open and didn't flinch. Halfway through the night, Amanda pulled me aside, her expression cautious. I need to tell you something about Seth, she said. It's bad. I set my drink down. What happened? He and Chloe broke up, for real this time. Apparently she met someone new at her agency, some exec with a bigger following, bigger salary, whatever. Seth came home to find his stuff in boxes. She kept the dog, the couch, the ring he'd regifted from you, everything. Kicked him out that same night. I exhaled. Poetic symmetry. Amanda nodded. He's been calling Nicole and Jess nonstop, trying to get sympathy. But everyone's done. He burned through all his goodwill. What's he doing now? Living with his parents in Evanston, working part-time at a boutique marketing firm for barely $40,000. Chloe tanked his reputation in their circle, called him controlling and emotionally draining. For a second, I almost felt sorry. Then I remembered his voice outside Girasole. You'll never be good enough for me. Amanda sighed. He asked if you were seeing anyone. I smiled. He should ask himself why he still cares. The following week, I got a text from an unknown number. I knew the rhythm before I opened it. Rowan, it's Seth. I know you probably blocked me, but I had to try. Chloe and I are done. You were right about everything. I miss you so much. I miss how grounded you made me. Can we please talk, just for coffee? I need to apologize properly. I stared at the message for a long moment. My thumb hovered, then dropped. Delete. Block. Some lessons don't need repeating. That same weekend, I met someone new. Eli, a software architect with messy hair, an easy laugh, and the kind of calm that doesn't ask for permission to exist. We met at a mutual friend's game night. When I mentioned I worked in finance, he grinned. So you actually enjoy spreadsheets? I make peace treaties with them, I said. He laughed, and it sounded like honesty. Our first coffee turned into a walk. Our second turned into dinner. No luxury flexes, no strategic silences. Just two people telling stories like they weren't auditions. On our third date, he said something that stopped me mid-sip. You talk about independence like it's oxygen. It is, I said. He nodded. Just promise you'll remember to breathe even when someone's next to you. That night, for the first time in months, I fell asleep without double-checking my phone. By December, the city dressed itself in lights again. On my way home from work, I passed the restaurant where everything had ended. Girasol's windows shimmered with gold ornaments. For a heartbeat, I saw that night replay. The table, the laughter, the humiliation. And then it vanished, replaced by the reflection of a woman walking past, chin lifted, eyes forward. Later, at home, I brewed coffee and sat by the window, watching snow feather against the glass. My phone buzzed, an alert from HR confirming my year-end bonus. I smiled and opened a new savings spreadsheet titled Next Chapter. For once, it wasn't about proving anything. It was just about building something steady, brick by brick, choice by choice. I thought of Seth's final words in that message. I miss how grounded you made me. Some people want to borrow your foundation because theirs keeps cracking. But I'd finally learned, I'm not a rescue, I'm a home. And this time I get to decide who gets a key.